Travelers scheduled to fly with WestJet for the May long weekend may be out of luck. This comes after the union representing its pilots issued a 72-hour strike notice. The Airline Pilots Association says members plan to begin lawful job action early Friday. This prompted the WestJet group to respond with a lockout notice. WestJet says guests impacted by flight delays or cancellations will be refunded or reaccommodated as applicable. The major sticking points in contract negotiations have been job protection, pay, and scheduling. The union says some 340 pilots have left WestJet over the past year and a half, mostly to other airlines. Well, joining us now to unpack this upcoming job action and its impact on travel this long weekend is Mr. John Gradek. He's an aviation expert and lecturer at McGill University. Mr. Gradek, welcome to Forum Daily.
It's a pleasure, Nina.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the latest details surrounding current contract negotiations between WestJet and pilots?
Well, they're still talking, which is a good sign. They've got, however, the clock is ticking. They've got until 3 o'clock Friday morning to come up with a tentative labor agreement. And so, there's still hope that this will be settled. So the question right now is how much of that gulf that exists between what the union is looking for and what WestJet is willing to offer, how much of that gulf can be closed between now and Friday morning.
And considering what's happening at the bargaining table right now, how likely are we to see this strike action on Friday, Mr. Gradek? And if this happens, what would this strike and a lockout notice look like?
Well, I think that, the odds are 50-50. In my opinion, I think that, my heart says not it's settled and my brain says, don't think so. It is going to be a very difficult gulf to close. It's going to require Onyx to get involved to a certain degree because it's all about cash and about the ability of WestJet to afford to pay some of these increases in wages that are being proposed by the pilots. So yeah, everybody's hanging around waiting, to make sure that that timeline is adhered to. A lot of pressure on both parties to come to an agreement, and if they don't, and Friday morning at 3 o'clock, WestJet starts an orderly shutdown of their operations, and then they start communicating with passengers and letting passengers book through Friday, Saturday, Sunday to offer them alternative travel arrangements. And if those travel arrangements aren't acceptable, WestJet would then be in a position to offer refunds to those passengers.
All right. And on that note, as we mentioned, WestJet says refunds and reaccommodations will be given out as applicable. So what does as applicable mean? And are there any loopholes that travelers need to know about when it comes to getting reimbursed or reaccommodated?
Loopholes. I love that word. Yes, they're going to try to do loopholes as much as they can. But I think that in this situation, the brand, the WestJet brand is a top priority. They don't want to lose any traffic because of mishandlings. I think that if they made the statement, I think the CEO of WestJet made the statement that refunds will be processed and processed promptly. So I have to believe that WestJet will in fact try to avoid the loopholes. They may not be in a position to pay for your hotels or meals, but while you're waiting for your reaccommodated flight. But they have the responsibility to communicate with passengers. If you're booked on WestJet in June, July, and August, don't expect a phone call. If you're booked within the next week on WestJet is when you'll be getting that call starting Friday morning to offer you alternative travel arrangements.
All right, Mr. Gradek, just over a minute left here, but talking about the broader impact of this strike, how do you see this impacting the likeliness of strikes by other major airlines during this busy travel season? Are we likely to see a crazy travel season just like we did last summer?
I hope not. I think that we're in pretty good shape for the summer after we go through this labor disruption or potential labor disruption with WestJet. The next cloud on the horizon is probably going to be the pilots at Air Canada. That probably won't start until the fall, if not the spring of 2024. And we'll probably be at this same place having this same conversation about Air Canada's pilots probably a year from now.
Well, looking forward to that, Mr. Gradek. Now, what are you going to be keeping your eyes on for both this upcoming weekend and the summer of 2023?
I'm looking at making sure that the staffing levels that everybody said they put in place to make sure that they've got enough staff in place as well. That staff is well trained. They know what they're doing, and that we avoid as much as possible a repeat of last summer because Canadians are fed up. I think the Minister of Transport is fed up. If that's a first sign of a breakdown in terms of operating integrity and delays and cancellations, I think there will be some action taken, and swiftly as well.
Lots to keep our eyes on. Again, Mr. Gradek, thank you again for your time today.
My pleasure. Have a great day. Thank you.